Hi, this is to help you write the second body paragraph of the Declaration of Independence DBQ. For this paragraph, where you have the option to go away from exactly what the documents say. So the first paragraph was all about the documents. The second body paragraph is you can explain why the ideal you chose is important in current times. So this can be something you are passionate about. The first thing we need to do is write a topic sentence to introduce how people use the ideal now. If you have an idea already of what you want to talk about, then just write a topic sentence about that. If you really aren't sure, there is a link I'll put in the video description here in a moment that takes you to the different topics that we suggested. So I am going to be modeling as if I am doing my essay about alter or abolish the government now. You have to make sure you're sticking with the same ideal all the way through, but to mix things up and make sure nobody's just copying my essay straight out, I am switching topics here. That's not what you get to do. You have to stick with the same topic all the way through your essay. All right, so if I'm doing alter or abolish the government, I could talk about the Equal Rights Amendment because amending the Constitution is altering or changing it. I could talk about some of these others if you can find a way that is altering or abolishing the government. I don't see a great way to talk about those. Voting, who gets to vote? There's a pretty strong argument there, in fact. And protesting, maybe people want to change the government. So here we have altering election rules, which is basically similar to the voting thing. So I have followed a link that was not actually the Citizens United article, but it is one that is about who gets to vote, and thus it is about altering the rules about how we choose our government. So I chose this article because I have looked through them already. So this is for newsforkid.net, and it's about U.S. politicians disagree over voting rights. I'm not going to do anything more with that until I have written my topic sentence. And the magic of computers let me write my topic sentence in just, a fraction of a second. One important way people are trying to alter the government at the present time is to make changes to voting rules. That reminds readers of my ideal, altering or abolishing the government, and brings in the topic that it applies to now. So that's my topic sentence. Now, I need to talk about the next part. So, second step is to support your statements with reliable sources, an article or video from the investigation activity. So, that's what I was looking at before. I have chosen to go with this altering the election rules, who votes, and let's see, I chose my article. It's right here. It's from newsforkids.net. The author's name on an article is usually right underneath the title. Sometimes it's at the end instead. Try to find the author's name. In this case, it doesn't have an author's name. NFK editors. So normally I would introduce it by telling who wrote this quote. But instead, I'm going to need to just introduce where it came from. So, whoops. There we go. According to newsforkids.net, that's my introduction right there. And now I need to quote. But first, while I'm there, let's see. The authors were NFK editors, and this is from 2021. So my citation is going to be the author's name. Like I said, I'm going to use NFK editors or newsforkids.net and then the date. So NFK editors 2021 is my citation. Now I am ready to go back to the website and I'm ready to find my quote. So let's see. I need to skim the article and find something that I can't say very well on my own, that they would have, having done research, they're going to maybe say it better, or they're going to have a fact that I want to quote. So let's see. Many Democrats are working to make it easier to vote, and many Republicans are working to put more limits on voting. I could use that one. I'm not sure. The attitudes are based on the belief, not necessarily a fact, but belief that Democrats are more likely to win elections when more people vote, especially poor people and people of color. Once again, that is an idea I definitely want to put in there. But let's see. Keeping on going. One way to limit voters is making it harder for people to register to vote. If the process of registering a vote is complicated or requires special documents, fewer people will sign up. That seems like something that would make a good quote, because it is something that they said very nicely. So I'm just going to copy that, and I am going to paste it here as my quote. And then I'm going to put in my quotation marks. All right, so I have chosen my quote. I have cited it by saying what the author is, and I introduced it with a short phrase. You're welcome to use a whole sentence there to introduce your quote. I chose to do just this. Maybe I should have done more. So I could have said something like, Democrats and Republicans don't agree on how easy it should be to vote. And then say this, according to news4kids.net. So I could have another sentence before that. That would be good. Maybe I'll add that when I write my essay. All right. So I have gotten my citation. Here's a note. This is not what I'm going to do right here now, but if you have a personal connection, so if you are writing about one of these other topics and you know someone, or you have been part of one of these, maybe you know somebody who's dealt with gender identity, or the environmental issues have affected you or someone in your family, maybe you would benefit from affirmative action, or you know someone who has. Okay, or maybe you were part of a protest, or you know someone who's been part of a protest. Any of those would be, sorry, wrong slide. There we go. A personal connection. So you can use that as one of your sources in this paragraph, but only one. You have to have another source from an article or video or some other reliable source. The documents would be okay too. All right, so the next thing, I need to add my reasoning. I forgot to put that on the slide, huh? But we definitely need reasoning. The reasoning, a good general idea is that if the quote is this long, my reasoning needs to be even longer. So I'm going to pause the video and take a moment to write out my reasoning. All right, and so I now have my reasoning finished. You'll notice I wrote, 3 sentences there? It does not have to just be one sentence. It needs to be all of your reasoning to explain how this quote or this idea supports your claim that this is an important thing. And so I explained how changing who can vote can change the government, and why that's so important. All right, I need to do the same thing again with a different source. You always want to try to have a couple sources. Remember, one of these can be your experiences, but a lot of you probably will need 2 sources. I went back to this, and this video is one that I thought I wanted to use. But the video is about how much money gets spent. Election rules, not voting rules. So I need to come back here and change my topic sentence to say, make changes to voting and election rules. And now my topic sentence includes that as well. So we can say, let's see, the topic of the video was about Citizens United, which is a court case that allows companies to spend a lot of money. So let's see, I could use this quote right here. I found this part in the video. It's kind of what I really want to get at. It's toward the end. So corporations are drowning out our voices, and then I can't copy and paste it, but I could type that or write it by hand. But I can also just summarize it in my own words. That's what it means when it says write what a source says in your own words. I'm still giving the same idea that's in the video. So let's say I need to introduce this. Let's see. I could say it is also important that rich people not have a bigger say, bigger influence over elections than other people without as much money. And then I can say, let's see, what was my source here? This is a YouTube video called From the Story of Stuff Project. So I don't have an author, but I'll call it the Story of Stuff Project. So according to the Story of Stuff projects, let's see, I need to cite the name of it. The Story of Citizens United versus FEC. Or I could just say, well, yeah, I'll leave it like that. Whoops. This one. All right, so I could say, now that's the title of something, so I'm going to put in italics. So the Story of Citizens United versus FEC. And I have the title there. I could just have put the title of the video and then just put the story of stuff in the citation. But I decided to do it this way instead. Now I'm going to explain what they said in my own words. So like I said, if I was doing a quote, I could use the subtitles to help me quote it properly and type what that says, or I can put the same idea in my own words. So let me pause this while I type that, and then I'll go on. Okay, so I had to make sure that what I wrote here in the source, it's my words, but it's still the ideas that are in the video that I watched. It's not my own ideas, it's their ideas. And then I need to find the date. So looking at that YouTube video, the description, let's see, I don't see a date. I see 11 years ago. If I click on more, though, it changes to a date. So I see that that is from 2011. So I'll add that, and then I'll put my ending parentheses. And now I need to go in and do my reasoning. Now remember, the reasoning needs to be should be longer than the quote. And so I need to do quite a bit of explaining here. So when you put the quote in your own words, you might keep that in mind, that you need to have a reasoning. So some of what you might want to say up here, you actually might want to just put in your reasoning instead. All right, so I'm not going to do that right now. But the last thing you need to do is a concluding sentence, which is just to remind your readers about which ideal you're writing about and why it's important to this current event. Because I've been, talking about elections and voting, and I haven't been saying a lot about altering or abolishing the government. So I could say altering the government makes it possible to, and you could probably use that as a sentence starter for just about anybody, for about anything. Instead of altering the government, it could be something else. So it could be equality makes it possible to do it, or consent of the governed makes it possible for people to do something. So, I would finish the sentence with altering the government makes it possible to change the rules around elections through constitutional amendments and passing important laws. And that would be the end of my second body paragraph.